Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to Gnan Cloud Garage. In this session, I'm going to talk about how to install ESXi 8.0 on VMware Workstation 16 Pro VM. Actually, a few of our friends already asked is the ESXi 8 is released or not. Actually, yesterday only VMware officially released the ESXi 8.0, now publicly available. So we can download the ESXi 8.0 and vCenter 8.0, and we can also download the VMware Cloud Foundation also available since yesterday onwards. Okay, suppose if you want to do a test drive, or if you want to run it in your lab or in your office test environment, you can try it. Okay, so let's quickly log into our lab system. Okay, if you see the download page, log into VMware website, and or else search in the Google VMware downloads. You will redirect it to this VMware Customer Connect portal. So once we log into this portal, okay, and you can select the product and accounts and all products. See, here you can see VMware vSphere. So click on view download components. See, you can see the release date is yesterday's date, and the vCenter 8.0 is available to download, and even NSX 4.0 it is available since August. Okay, and VMware Tools version also, previously it's 11 series, now the latest version is 12.0.6. Okay, and suppose if you want to download the VCF also, go to the all products and scroll down. You can see we look for a VMware Cloud Foundation. Say even Cloud Foundation, latest version 4.5. This is also released yesterday. Okay, so now let me open the VMware Workstation and go to the home. I'm creating a VM. The installation procedure same like how we installed previously 7.0, the same procedure for 8.0, no much changes. But only thing is, in production environment, if you install the vSphere on DPU, we have a facility. Okay, but in the home lab, I am unable to show you the DPU, but I will show you the direct straight away installation method. And during the virtual machine creation, we can choose typical or custom, but recommendation is custom. So select the custom and choose the hardware compatibility. It's with the latest version. Click on next, and operating system, we can install it later. And guest operating system, we have multiple options: Windows, Linux, ESX, and other. So in this session, we are planning to install ESXi 8 ISO. So we need to select ESXi, and in the drop down menu, we need to choose the relevant option is ESXi 7 and later editions. Okay, so this is the relevant option for ESXi 8. So click on next, and virtual machine name, you can keep any of the name. Let's say, for example, I'm assigning the name as ESXi 08, and click on next. And number of process, I'm just giving the default one, and 4 GB memory. Even if you want to increase to 8 GB, we can increase, or even 16 GB also can. And this networking, we can modify it later also. Click on next, and you can use the default SCSI controller, para virtualize SCSI, that is the recommended option. Click on next, and virtual disk type SCSI, and create new virtual disk, and recommend to create as a single disk file instead of multiple files. So select the store virtual disk as a single file, and the default it is showing 142 GB. Better change it to the minimal size. Let's say I'm selecting as 40 GB. Click on next, and virtual machine disk file name is vmname.vmdk. Click on next. So now it's ready to create a virtual machine. So click on finish. So within our VMware Workstation 16 Pro edition, and we created a virtual machine ESXi 08. Okay, and now to mount the ISO, just click on CD DVD. Just with interest of our time, I already downloaded, and keep a copy in our downloads folder. Okay, so let me click on CD DVD or edit virtual machine setting, any option you can choose. So select CD DVD and you can choose use ISO image file, click on browse, and in the downloads I already downloaded, that is VMvisor, that means hypervisor installer 8.0. So select this ISO file, mount, and device status should be connected state. Now click on OK. So now the ISO file is mounted, we are good to power on. Once we power on, it will start booting from a ISO file. So ESXi 8.0 installation is in progress. And if you want to know about the workstation version name, just help, you can select about VMware Workstation. You can see the version is 16.2. Okay, click on OK. So this installation loading may take a while. And in the meantime, we'll create a DNS record in our DNS server. So go to the Active Directory. Okay, now let me open the DNS. So DNS mgmt.msc. So within our demo lab, we have previous ESXi host. So let me create a new ESX. Let's say ESXi 8 and IP address 192.168.10. Let's say I'm taking the IP address as 8. So create a pointer record, click on add host. So click on OK, click on done. So when we click refresh, the record is created. So ESXi 8 is created, and we'll check in the pointer record also in the reverse lookup zone. Reverse lookup zone, our IPs is 10.8. So let me refresh. Yeah, 8 is created. Okay, so DNS record is recommended. And now we'll go to the ESX console. See, loading. Loading the ESXi installer. So in the meantime, let me go back to the slide. If you see in our previous slide, previous ESXi 7 installation, the same procedure applicable for ESXi 8 also. So there is no change in the pre-installation steps. Normally in the production environment, we have to verify our server hardware compatibility list. So whether our hardware is compatible to the ESXi 8 or not. Suppose if you want to verify the compatibility list, just log into the open the any browser and type in the Google VMware System Compatibility Guide. If you type System Compatibility Guide, you will find a search option, or else you can find a direct PDF also. Suppose if you type PDF, you can download the first PDF official VMware site System Compatibility Guide PDF. So this PDF will have all the compatibility hardware. This is one method, and another method from the website also we can check. See, this is the compatibility guide. If you see, this is updated in October 12th. So recent one, today's date only. Suppose if I want to search for one of the HPE model, whether the HPE hardware compatible or not. Let's say model is HPE DL380 model. So when you type DL380 and search for that hardware model, you will find the hardware information. Let's say within the HPE, there are multiple models. So simplicity, I'm just looking for a HPE Proliant DL380. See, there are Proliant models. So let's look for a DL380 model. These all simplicity compatible. Superdome Flex. Yeah, yeah, you can see the Proliant DL models here. So instead of HP, they use the full name. That's why I'm unable to search here. Okay, so if you see here, DL360 generation 10, and DL380 generation 10. If you see here, ESXi 8.0 is compatible. Okay. And normally when we are installing in a production environment, whatever the server model we are using, just you can search from this PDF and verify that whether our model is supported for a ESXi 8.0. And even within a same model also, there is a different process like Xeon Gold, Xeon Platinum. Uh, Suppose if your server model consists of gold, we need to verify the specific processor model is supported or not. And same way for a other models also. Okay. So we know this point how to verify the HCL. And another point, select the compatibility hardware that should be server form factors, either a tower server, rack mount server, or blade server. Any model we can use. And do the server cabling work with help of the cable vendor. Normally cabling, rack cabling and all, there will be a cable vendors. They will help us to do all the cabling. And configure the HPE ILO. If the server is HPE model, we need to configure integrated light source. If it is a Dell model, configure integrated drive remote access control needs to be configured. And for IBM, remote supervisor adapter needs to be configured. And Fujitsu also integrated remote management control needs to be configured. These tools will help us to connect the server remotely and start the installation. Every configuration can be remotely, but the initial step should be how to do manually. And once we connected the server using remote management control IP address, and we can install or upgrade the firmware first. Sometimes the server may come up with the latest firmware. If it is not with the latest firmware, we have to upgrade. Okay. And if there is no firmware also, we have to install the firmware. That is the recommendation. Normally firmware consists of all the hardware device drivers. And enable the RAID 1 or RAID 5 at a BIOS level. If the server hardware comes with the 2 disks, we can go with the RAID 1. 3 disk means we may configure RAID 5. But normally some organization, they may have some standard procedures. Based on the organization regulations, we can configure the RAID. Okay. Redundant area of inexpensive disk. This will help us in case of any hard disk is failed. There will be no impact to our ESXi operating system. And our virtual machines will not store local disk. We are storing all the virtual machines in a shared storage that can be either fiber channel SAN, iSCSI SAN, or network attached storage, or we can also use a HCI concept like hyper-converged infrastructure or software defined storage, which is a virtual SAN we can use, or we can also configure a virtual volumes. Okay. And another point is to install the ESX operating system on direct hardware. First, while installing on bare metal, our Intel, if it is a Intel motherboard, virtual technology should be enabled. And if it is a AMD, V technology should be enabled at the BIOS level. But nowadays, most of the servers coming with a default enable option. But this should be one of our validation checkpoint. And download the ESXi 8 ISO or the custom ISO file. Sometimes if you are using a ESX ISO means directly download. Just now I shown you how to download ESX ISO. Custom ISO means instead of installing a manual firmware, if you download the custom ISO, it consists of all the firmware information. For example, let's log into our lab system. Let's go back to previous download page. Suppose if I see the VMware downloads, vSphere download page. Seems my internet is slow. Sorry for that. Okay. Now, when we go to the VMware vSphere download page, this is a normal direct product download, which consists of direct ISO files. But for custom ISO, there is a tab for custom ISO, and this custom ISO consists of all the custom image. That is, for suppose here we have a HPE custom image ESXi 8.0. That means this custom image consists of all the HPE drivers also included, and even Dell EMC custom ISO means this ISO consists of Dell EMC drivers plus ESXi 8 ISO. So this is recommended for a specific hardwares. Okay, maybe in future they may also release for a other vendors also. At present we have only the HPE and Dell EMC. Okay, so let's back to the screen. See pre-installation step, this point also clear. And another point, getting IP settings from network team or IP inventory list. Normally, every company has some standard policies to get the free IPs. So based on your organization policy, we can get the IP address. But currently, a normal procedure is either network team or if you have any standard inventory list, from the inventory list, you can find the IP address and get the storage details from the storage team, and finally create a host record and pointer record in DNS server. This point we already created. Okay. Now the next step is installation procedure. Just mount the ISO and via virtual media option. Normally virtual media option is available in a ILO, integrate lights out, or any of the remote management console. So once ISO is mounted, we can reset, it will start booting from the ISO. So currently we need to monitor the booting process from remote management console, but in our lab, we are testing purpose, we are installing on a workstation VM. So let's verify the booting process now. Back to this lab system and see our VM status. It is showing welcome to ESXi 8.0 installation. So click on enter to continue. And end user license agreement, escape, do not accept, F11 for accept. So let me press F11, function 11. Now it is scanning all the available devices and then it will start the installation process. So there is no difference in ESXi 7 installation and ESXi 8, almost the same, but only thing is ESXi 8 have a additional capability to install directly on a DPU, data processing unit, or another name is SmartNIC. Okay, but in our lab I am unable to show you the SmartNIC installation, but this option is the new changes in the ESXi 8.0. Okay, rest of all the same like ESXi 7 installation experience. So now we already during the installation we created a 40 GB drive, so it's showing the same drive. So press enter to continue, language US default, and assign the root password and confirm password. Now continue. So now it is going to install, it will clear the entire disk data. Currently there is no data in the drive. So to confirm, press function 11. So now the installation is in progress. So if you notice, there is no much changes compared to 7.0 installation and 8.0 installation. So it may take another few 2 to 3 minutes to finish the installation. In the meantime, let me back to the slide. So currently we are monitoring the booting status. Installation is in progress, and follow the on-screen instruction to install, enter and press F11. So we already pressed the F11. After seeing the installation, we continued and we pressed the F11 key. Okay, and the post installation we already know, but just quickly recap. So we have to enable the SSH for command line access and enable NTP for time synchronization. Port number is 123, and enable SNMP to monitor the ESXi host, and we can apply the ESXi host patches. That is a optional, but patching and all I will cover the another session because some of our friends already asked for a update and upgrade videos, so I will do it in the later sessions. And configure ESXi host networking, vSwitch and DVSwitch. It's almost same like a ESXi 7.0, but whatever the new enhancements included in 8.0, I will discuss separately. And configure ESXi host storage that can be configured on local, network attached storage, internet SCSI, or storage area network. And assign the license. Currently in our lab, we are using a evaluation license, and disable the lockdown mode and configure the ESXi syslog server. This is recommended step in real-time scenarios. One example, syslog server, we can configure it to vRealize login site or Aria login site, and validate the ESXi host connectivity status and health checks, and create a test VM and take the image backup. This is also recommended when we are moving a one new ESXi host to live, the recommendation to test the virtual machine backup. before moving to the production, and validate the ESXi host disk space and open the firewall ports. This is optional, but some servers, when we install a firmware, it may fill up our OS RAM disk may full. So that is the reason we keep one safety point is optional point is read to verify the host disk space. And if your organization is running in any of the remote location and to access for your other branch, we may require to open some firewall ports. So that's the reason I mentioned the last point as a optional. Okay. Now let's back to our lab system and verify the status. See, installation is completed. If you notice, there will be pretty straightforward installation only. If you see the on-screen instruction, ESXi 8.0 has been installed successfully. Will operate in a evaluation mode. Evaluation mode is 60 days. To use the ESXi 8.0 after the evaluation period, we must register for a VMware product license. Okay, and to administer your server, we can server host name or IP address, open any browser, we can access the ESXi host graphical user interface, and command line we can use SSH session using putty. Okay, so we can remove the installation media. That means ISO file needs to be unchecked and then reboot. Okay, so before reboot, just right click the VM, go to the settings and select CD DVD, uncheck the device status, click on OK, and now press enter, it will reboot. So ESX installation is completed. Now we are restarting the ESXi 8. Once the reboot is completed, we can assign the static IP address. So by default in workstation VM, it may pick the dynamic IP. We can change it to static IP. And in the meantime, I will also change the network settings. Go to the VM edit settings, select the network adapter. It is in the NAT and recommend to change it to the all VM net 0. Okay, VM net 0 can be it maintain a bridge. So click on OK. And if you see in the screen, it's automatically detect a NAT IP address, DHCP IP, and we can change the DHCP IP to static IP. So to change the IP, we have to press F2, function 2, and enter the root password. Now we can change the IP address. Okay, click on configure management network, and we need to go to the IPv4 and set IPv4 and change the IP address. 192.168.10 dot. We are planning to assign IP is 8, and the gateway, our lab system, all the gateways are 1, ends with 1. Okay, now enter, and IPv6 just leave it default, no need to change anything. And DNS configuration we have to configure, and our DNS IP, let's quickly double check the IP. I think recently I changed some of the IPs. So it's a 10.10. Okay, let me change the IP to DNS 192.168.10.10. Okay, and the host name also we can change. Host name is ESXi 8. Now click on enter, and the custom DNS suffix we need to change to domain name to demolab.com. Enter. Okay, now enter. Everything is changed. Escape to save. So press Y. Okay, so now the IP address is changed to static. To verify the status, just open the command prompt and verify the ping status, whether this new IP is able to ping or not. Let's say IP address is 192.168.10.8. See, now the IP is able to ping. So open a browser and we can access the home page. So let's say the home page 10.8. Sorry. There is a typo. Okay. Okay, now just proceed to system. Yeah, this is the vSphere VMware ESXi host client. Let me increase the font. Okay, let me log in. So default login is root. Okay, this is the vSphere 8 host client, how the view. So even the vSphere logo is changed. And if you want to join the VMware customer experience program, keep it okay, click on OK. Okay, see ESXi 8 is configured and the version is 8.0 and the state is normal, not connected to any vCenter. Correct. We haven't installed the vCenter. I will show you the vCenter installation also. Okay. And even no data stores are configured here. It is in the evaluation mode. License period is 60 days. Even colors and all completely change. Suppose if you want to add a disk, just right click the VM, add a disk and we can add it here. Okay. So now let's back to the slide. See, we already SSH if you want to test it, just back to the system. We can configure SSH in multiple ways. If you go to the manage, right side, go to the services tab, and here also we can enable, or else we can go to the another method is command line also we can enable. I'm also just exploring all the tabs. Is there any new tabs here? Even if you see here the license feature, we can see so many new features are added here. Okay, we'll use this option. Okay, if you see here, the features are so many new features. GPU is the new one. And the GPU, I think we have previously also. These all the new features information. Okay. Okay, the remaining options and all I will show you in the later session. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you. If you are watching this video first time, please do view, like, share and subscribe to the Gnan Cloud Garage channel. If you are already subscribed, I appreciate all your support. Bye for now.